The uncanny valley is a concept that has been known for a very long period of time now, but it is still considered one of the biggest problems in animation and VFX today. In this video, we're gonna talk about what it is, look at some examples of its history, and probably some ways of how we can overcome it if possible. This video is brought to you by Sketchfab, a platform for buying and selling 3D models online. Their store has a lot of high quality models to choose from using a great model inspector. Links in the description. What is the uncanny valley effect? This concept suggests that humanoid objects, which imperfectly resemble actual human beings, provoke uncanny or strangely familiar feelings of eeriness and revulsion in observers. Examples can be found in robotics, 3D computer animations, and lifelike dolls. The problem with the uncanny valley is the more we try to create something that comes close to what a human being looks like, the more we are prone to fall in it, and people's admiration and love for artistic creation turns into feelings of revulsion, as some people describe it. The uncanny valley in animation and VFX. There are lots of examples that show us how people react to the uncanny valley effect over the years through many animation projects and films, and some examples include the baby character Billy in Pixar's groundbreaking 1988 animated short film Tintin that provoked negative audience reactions, which led the film industry to take the concept of the uncanny valley seriously. The 2001 Final Fantasy The Spirits Within, the first photorealistic computer animated feature film, also provoked negative reactions from some viewers due to its near-realistic yet imperfect visual depiction of human characters. Some critics stated that while the film's animation is brilliant, the realistic human faces look phony precisely because they are almost there but not quite. Also, another critic said, at first it is fun to watch the characters, but then you notice a coldness in their eyes, a mechanical quality in their movement. Also in the 2001 film The Mummy Returns, there is a scene where we see the Scorpion King character coming through a gate with a close-up shot showing what the internet considered the worst CGI shot ever created. They actually tried to create something realistic, but they unfortunately fell into the uncanny valley. Some reviewers of the 2004 animated film The Polar Express called its animation eerie. Some said about the film and those human characters in the film come across as downright creepy, and also said that The Polar Express is at best disconcerting and at worst a little bit horrifying, and the term eerie was also used by some reviewers. Some called the film characters creepy and dead-eyed, and wrote that The Polar Express is a zombie train. An animation director wrote an online analysis describing how changes to the Polar Express characters' appearances, especially in their eyes and eyebrows, could have avoided what he considered a feeling of deadness in their faces. Also, the 2007 animated film Beowulf. The film received moderate positive reviews from critics, who complimented the visual effects, motion capture, and voice acting, while criticizing aspects of the interpretation of the poem in addition to how the character looked. Some said that the film failed the uncanny valley test, stating that the film's villain was only slightly scarier than the close-up shots of the hero Beowulf's face, which I think is an exaggeration because the film's characters looked okay compared to the films that we have seen that fell in the uncanny valley. Some reviewers of the 2009 animated film A Christmas Carol criticized its animation as creepy, and they said about the film, as in The Polar Express, the animated eyes never seem to focus. And for all the photorealism, when characters get wiggly-limbed and bouncy as in standard Disney cartoons, it's off-putting. The 2011 animated film Mars Need Moms was also widely criticized for being creepy and unnatural because of its style of animation. The film was among the biggest box office bombs in history, which may have been due in part to audience revulsion. Mars Need Moms was also produced by Robert Zemeckis' production company Image Movers, which had previously produced The Polar Express, Beowulf, and A Christmas Carol. Reviewers had mixed opinions regarding whether the 2011 animated film The Adventures of Tintin was affected by the uncanny valley, where wrote, instead of trying to bring to life Hergé's beautiful artwork, Spielberg, the director of the film, had opted to bring a movie into the 3D era using the trendy motion capture technique to recreate Tintin and his friends. However, other reviewers felt that the film avoided the uncanny valley despite the animation character realism. One critic wrote, with the possible exception of the title character, the animated cast of Tintin narrowly escaped the entrapment of the so-called the uncanny valley. And another route of the film, we have passed beyond the uncanny valley into the planes of hyperreality. In the 2019 film The Lion King, which is a remake of the 1994 film that featured photorealistic digital animals in place of the earlier film's more traditional animation, divided critics about the effectiveness of its imagery. Some wrote that the images were realistic, that the 2019 might be best remembered as the summer we left the uncanny valley for good. However, other critics found that the realism of the animals and settings rendered the scenes where the characters sing and dance disturbing and weird. Also, multiple commentators cited that the CGI half-human, half-cat characters in the 2019 movie Cats as an example of the uncanny valley effect, first after the release of the trailer of the film, and then in the film's actual release. Also, the 2020 film Sonic the Hedgehog was delayed from its November 8, 2019 release after an extremely negative audience reaction to the title character design in the first trailer, which forced the creators to redesign him. The uncanny valley in video games. These days, there are a lot of video games that try to be as realistic as possible, which increases the possibility of falling into the uncanny valley, but somehow people don't talk about it and they don't care. There are some reasons why the uncanny valley is not a thing in video games, but probably one of the most important reasons is we are used to motion capture stiffness in video games. Every video game would be critically destroyed if it was a film. Plus, the quality of the actors and the script are often good, which can bring you to overcome the lack of realism. But this again proves that we don't have to have realistic characters to make the audience emotionally invested in a video game or any project, by the way. The uncanny valley in robotics. The uncanny valley is a concept that was first introduced in the 1970s by Masahiro Mori, a professor at the Tokyo Institute of Technology. Mori coined the term uncanny valley to describe his observation that as robots appear more human-like, they become more appealing, but only up to a certain point. Upon reaching the uncanny valley, our affinity descends into a feeling of strangeness, a sense of unease, and a tendency to be scared or freaked out. So the uncanny valley was actually first defined as people's negative reaction to a certain lifelike robots. And then after many years, people in other industries such as VFX and animation began to take the uncanny valley effect seriously after they have seen how people reacted to it and when they started losing money. Avoiding the uncanny valley. Unless you intend to create creepy characters or evoke a feeling of unease, you can follow certain design principles to avoid the uncanny valley. The easiest answer is simple: stay away from realistic designs. Your film can benefit from a design that moves away from realism and into something that emphasizes the tone or some other aspects of the film. Of course, another way to avoid the uncanny valley would be to actually overcome it. But even if we were able to do that, portraying every detail of our world would always require an insane amount of work and computer power. So why not use our mind's ability to feel life in not so realistic designs? In the end, it is emotional believability that will make a story work. But if you want to make a character more realistic and move beyond the uncanny valley, make sure that the character's facial expressions match its emotive tones of speech, and that its body movements are responsive and reflect its emotional state. Special attention must be paid to facial elements such as the forehead, eyes, and mouth, which depict the complexities of emotion and thought. Also, the mouth must be modeled and animated correctly, so the character doesn't appear aggressive or portray a false smile when they should be genuinely happy. If you are really sure that you cannot film real people with VFX elements on them, you should still try to step away from exactly copying a human being. One way to do this is to slightly change the proportions away from a human being anatomy. Take the Avatar aliens for example, Gollum from Lord of the Rings, or Alita from Alita the Battle Angel. In these cases, realistic textures, an elaborated bone and muscle system make them belong in a realistic environment, but the slight changes in anatomy, like bigger eyes, bigger limbs, and so on, kept them out of the uncanny valley. This way, the control of appeal is back to the hands of designers. On top of that, the bigger eyes are an excellent stage for emotional expression. One professor in the field said, the goal is not to avoid the uncanny valley, but to avoid bad character animation and behaviors, stressing the importance of the appearance of a robot or a character and its ability. Because we as human beings, we are trained to spot even the smallest divergence from normal human behavior and actions. hence we often fail in creating highly realistic, human-like characters. For now, the uncanny valley appears to be an uncanny cliff. We find the likability to increase and then crash once robots or characters become human-like, but we have rarely observed them overcome the valley. I hope you found this video useful and informative. If you have something to add, you can leave it in the comment section below. Also, you can check some of our previous videos. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.